You are listening to Independent Woman with Wine. I am your host, Ellie, one of the 12 warrior women who came together to create this amazing book. This series is where our voices rise and our stories roar.
Welcome to Independent Woman with Wine. Today we have one of my sisters that are in the book with me, and I am so honored to have her here, a fellow warrior, and one of the voices from our anthology. She's the host of the Speak Up Queen, uh, Voices of Courage, a podcast that you guys talk about trauma, women who have walked through a trauma and found their strength. She brings compassion, resilience, and powerful message of healing. Please welcome Marika. Hi, Marika. How are you?
Hi, Ali. I'm very well. Thanks for having me. What a
Yes, of
great
course. I am so excited to have you, so honored to have you here. And so excited that you my first from my I did interview Brandy in the beginning of the year, but the book is out, right? And it's so much fun. My first question for you is why did you join this group to make this book with these amazing ladies that we made this book with? What was like the reason why you decided to join?
I think for me, it was Lady V. She came into my life I think it was last year or a year before. I can't even remember. And she was on my podcast and when she asked me if I could write a book with her and other queens, I was like, sign me up. I don't know what I have to do, but sign me up. I am there. And I am so grateful that I did because I did write two other anthologies with other women, but this anthology is just hitting closer because we have the book in color. We are
I
meeting
know.
every week. We've been meeting every fortnight or every whatever. But we've been meeting. We've been
Uh-huh.
praying for each other. We have been a real sisterhood.
Oh yeah,
And
for
that is
sure.
something that you don't get. So like you don't get just you can write a book, pay for it, write the book. But this book is we've got the sisters, we've got the queens, the warriors. That was part of the package
Uh-huh.
that's just priceless.
Awesome. So for the people who be watching or listening my podcast, maybe they will be finding my podcast for the first time and meeting you for the first time. How would you describe the mission behind the Speak Up Queen? The voices of courage. Why did you start this podcast and this movement? Why you decided to put yourself out there and help so many women?
Speak Up Queen was born for my 17-year-old self who was silenced when I was ready to tell my story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One police officer said, Marika, I'm proud of you. You just broke the cycle. And then unfortunately, I had to retell my story. And that police officer said that I've asked for it. No one would believe me, and it was all my fault.
Mm-hmm.
And that silenced me for almost 18 years. And we've moved to Australia on my 30th birthday almost 6 years ago. And that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to go on this healing journey, self-healing journey, to find out who am I without the limiting beliefs? Who am I without the lack of boundaries? Um, I was 30 years old. I was a people pleaser. I couldn't look myself in the mirror. Um, and last year were at a change maker workshop, and we had to really dive deep. Why did you start your mission? Why? 5 times why? And that's when I discovered that it was my 17-year-old self who was silenced. And I started the Speak Up Queen podcast to just create a safe space for every woman who's been through abuse to share her story. It's
Mm-hmm.
her safe space. No one is going to tell her it's her fault. No one is going to tell her it's her. So my mission is creating more safe spaces for women to speak up because we have been silenced for so long.
Yeah. And they used to like tend not to believe women when they say something, and the movement Me Too brought out like all these women who had trauma from 30 years ago all came out in, yes, I went through that. It's just like made so much, it gave women so much power and empowerment. And it's strange to come out and say, that happened to me, 30 years ago, 35 years ago, they all came out and said that is awesome. When you look back on your healing process, what would you say was the turning point that helped you reclaim your life, your voice?
I think for me was on when my son was born and they put that baby on my chest, and I was like, I need to heal for this child. My trauma stops with me. Did it? No, it didn't, because here I was still doing the same exact things that my parents did, and doing things that I was used to, as it was normal for me in my house. But we as parents, we can either choose to stay in the victim mode and say, but this is what happened to me as a child, so I'm just going to do it do the same to my child. I just decided that day when he was born, I will try my best. Every day I'm going to try my best. If I can just be one than I was yesterday, that was all that matters. And during the last 6 years, my son is now, I almost want to say, fully trained to help people that is over stimulated, because sometimes when I'm not perfect, like no one, this is a healing, you are healed, you've got the golden star, now everything is going to work out. Sometimes I still get my days when I'm getting overwhelmed. And now he's just in this, now he understands why am I overwhelmed. So he will come and hug me for 20 seconds and just say, Mom, breathe. And it was like, okay. So that was my whole mission over the last 6 years, giving him the tools. Because one day he is going to meet a woman or a girl. And she's also going to have trauma. Trauma does not skip anyone.
We all have trauma.
Yes, I
Whether
want him.
was at home, at school, at work, growing up, or having the funny uncle, as they call it. We all have trauma, and it's how we choose to come out of it, come out on the other side, And I see that you have done an excellent job. So good. I mean, I think all of us on the book come out on the other side. We come out warriors, right? So many women will be listening, might be in the early process, early stages of healing, What is something that you wish someone had told you back then?
That you are enough. Your past does not define you. What it was, it happened to you, but it don't have to become you. You don't have to be your past for the rest of your life. You can really stop and think, because we only have now. I can't stay stuck on the past. We only have literally this moment. That's the only time we have. The past is gone. The future, we don't know if we are going to be here in the future. So we only have now. And you have the power in you to say, enough is enough. Yes, you can't maybe leave that abusive relationship immediately, but you can choose you and say, you know what, I'm going to start my healing journey. I'm going to create a safe space, whether it's in the toilet for 5 minutes, to just tell yourself you are safe, and thinking about how you're going to leave. And I know it's a dangerous time for women to leave, so don't just leave. I mean, my mom couldn't leave. When I asked her on the day when I was going to the social worker to tell my story, I asked her, Mom, aren't you tired of this abuse? Like seriously, aren't you tired? And the words she said was, I didn't know how to leave him. And at that moment, I was like a 17-year-old teenager rebel. And I said, you know what? I've got this. I've got this. And I went to the social worker. But your healing time, you've got the choice to start your healing. And like I said, it's not a destination, it's a journey. Start removing these limiting beliefs, because our abusers will tell us that we are not enough. Our
Yeah.
abusers will say, stay quiet, or I will kill your parents, or your mom and your sister. For me, it was my dad, he was my abuser. And
Oh,
every time I tried, he would strangle me and say to me, I will kill you if you talk.
oh,
And so I've been taught from a young age, when you're speaking up, you're gonna be quiet. They will silence you. But my 17-year-old didn't. She was a rebel, and I love her for that, for speaking up. Even though I was silenced by one detective or police officer, that was also okay, because that was part of the journey. But for every woman who is starting her healing journey, just know that you are loved. There is so many safe spaces out there. Get yourself a community, get yourself a group of women, or wherever you feel safe to share. Get it, because 18 years ago, I didn't know about podcasts. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't know about mindfulness. We didn't know about breathing exercises. We didn't have all these resources. And now you can go on Facebook and you can go and group women empowerment. Boop, there we go. Speak up, Queen. Boop, there we go. Warrior Women Hear Us Roar. Boop, there we go. You've got a community, and find yourself a community where you feel safe. Because what I've learned over the last 6 years on this journey is I tried everything. Journaling, art therapy, mindfulness, affirmations. I tried everything. But certain things I loved more, and I started to do that to help my healing journey. So for the woman who's starting to heal, try everything. If you try everything, you can decide, okay, I love more art therapy is my thing, or breathing exercises is my thing, or grounding is my thing.
or start a podcast.
Because I was like, or start a podcast.
It's
That's
it's
a
a
better,
way
that's a
to
better idea.
it's a way to start. I mean, don't go listen to my first few podcasts because I didn't know what I was doing. But it's just me pouring out. Hey, somebody out there might be listening, right?
Yep. I mean, I started my podcast last year and I published 80 episodes in 6 weeks. It
Oh,
was
wow.
very crazy. It was a very crazy time, but I'm a podcaster. I still don't have all the gadgets and all the grand things. No, I just have my Zoom and my speaker
Yeah,
and my camera, and that is enough, because
I started
sometimes,
last year too. Only now I got a fancy microphone. Not as fancy. I'm like, I told my husband, look, I have a professional mic. Finally, one little thing, I have it.
and I mean, for women who starting, just start. Start messy. Because what I've learned over the last year, I was resonating with people who showed up authentically, who
Mhm.
showed up raw, messy. Not the pitch perfect people,
Uh-huh.
makeup. You don't resonate with some people, because healing is messy. Healing is raw. It's authentically just your story. So just start,
Like you
because
said,
it's worth it.
try everything until you find something that resonates with you, right?
Yes.
Thank you for that. That's really, really good. Okay, so a little bit about yourself. How do you take care of yourself now, especially holding this space for other people, for woman stories? Because from what I can tell, a lot of them come to your podcast and they probably tell you some hard stories to hear, you know? So my question for you is, how do you take care of yourself mentally? You went through what you went through, and now you're helping out the woman by listening to them. But how do you take care of yourself with all this? I don't know what the word would be. Heaviness. It's a heavy stuff, you know. So how do you take care of yourself?
I've learned like grounding. I will like my garden at the back is when I look out of my window, it's green. So my mind is always like it's looking at green. And then when I go outside, when things is like before the podcast, I will go outside and I will sit flat on my ass and just feel the grass, listen to to the wind, the birds, just listen to it and just ground myself and take a few deep breaths and just tell myself I am safe because that is something that I needed to remind myself. And then afterwards, I will just literally after the podcast, I will stand up and I will just shake like everything out so that it can just
I love
be
that.
out and released. Because the body keeps the score. When we hold
Oh, yeah.
our breaths, when we stay like this, it's to get loose
Oh,
and
yeah.
shake it out, or just go for a mindful walk or listen to something powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing for when I'm feeling like I'm busy writing my memoir. And I've learned so much things as a self-healing coach. You learn all the tactics, but you never you tell your friends and the people what to do. But when you're in that is when that is getting tested and you need to practice it. So while I'm writing my memoir, I'm like, okay, you are safe, you are safe. And I will give myself a hug. I will give myself a hug and I will just go for a walk or shake it out. Um, and it's simple things. We might think like when I started my healing journey, I would look myself in the mirror and I would tell myself, for the first year and a half, I was looking at myself in the mirror and I would tell myself I am enough, but I wouldn't believe it. And sometimes I would cry because I couldn't believe I was looking myself in my eyes, telling myself I am enough, but yes. And then someday it just clicked. And I was like standing naked in front of the mirror, and my husband is like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm telling myself I am enough." And I was like, I was so confident. I was like, I am enough. I'm beautiful and mindful. And he was like, okay, you're a little bit crazy. I'm like, I know, but I love it. So we need to start with small things like I am enough until you believe it, because those three words is so powerful. It's really
Yeah.
so powerful to know that I am enough. That's all. Just
Mm-hmm.
start telling yourself I am enough.
It is hard to start. I was an abusive relationship in my early 20s, and that took over my life up until my early 40s, you know? So I started with affirmations and telling things myself. And just like you say, I was telling those things, but don't believe. And then one day, just like you said, click. You know, we just gotta keep pushing. You're not feeling yet, but just keep going. And here in America, they have a saying that you say, fake it until you make it.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely.
I want to talk about your chapter in the book. I mean, you know, I love it. I loved everything. And I printed a couple of pages because it resonates with me. It's like, oh my God, it's like she wrote that part, like she channeled me. So I was thinking, since I resonate and I identify so much with a couple of parts of your chapter, I want to see if we can talk about a little bit of those things. What were you thinking when you wrote that? Is that okay with you?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
Okay. The first thing I was say, it did not resonate because when I turned 17, I was already drinking and smoking. So, but here you said when you were welcome to your teenage years, you got a six-pack of beer and a pack of cigarettes. And that was when you finally
Yes.
realized the world had given up protecting you, and instead they handed you tools, the wrong tools. Um, I think it's the case of a lot of teenagers, trouble home, parents argue, abusive parents, all of these things. So I identify with that. But by the time I turned 17, I was already drinking and having cigarettes. A lot of young women, probably my age, your age, probably identified with this part. By the time I turned 17, I'm drowning in silence. The world sees a wild girl, a rebel, and that was also me. Someone acting out. But what they don't see is a girl haunted by flashbacks, riddled with fear, and worn thin by a trauma that no teenager should carry. And one day I just couldn't carry it anymore. I don't know if you know this, a lot of women will identify, because if I did, many women will identify with a lot in your chapter. And this one right here, it was powerful because at that moment you realize it is not fair. It's not fair that I have to carry this to me, and I just want to take my hat off to you. You wrote an amazing story that I was in awe of your story. So tell me something about this phrase that I just read for you. Do you remember what were you thinking when you were writing? Um, what was how do you remember the feeling that you had when you realized that it is not fair for me to be carrying this trauma with me my whole life? It's not fair, and I just won't do it anymore.
Yeah, I think for me, since I was a baby, like my mom was pregnant with twins.
You
And
had a twin?
I was supposed to be, but unfortunately, my dad punched my mom in her stomach when she was 6 months pregnant. So she lost my baby brother.
Oh my
And
gosh, I'm so sorry.
she, no, that's okay. And she had to lay down because she was almost losing me. So for my whole life, I was the protector. Like my sisters, when my dad wanted to punch or abuse my sisters, I would say, you know what? Let them go and to the shops. I will lay down. You abuse me, and to protect them. And I think for me was my whole life I was a protector. And the day I said to my mom, if I asked her for permission, if are you done with this abuse? Because the night before, my dad just punched her and threw her against the wall, and he just said he's going to kill all four of us. So he was sleeping with his knife next to his bed. And that's the day that I decided, you know what, no more. And I went to her at work and I said, aren't you done? Aren't you tired of this? Because I am done. I'm really done living in fear. Going to bed every night, not knowing if we are going to survive tonight.
Mhm.
And she said, yes. Just didn't know how. And that's when I just said, you know what, let's just go to the social worker and just tell my story. Um, so that was one big thing for me, was that moment of enough is enough. I'm 17 years old. I can't take it anymore. I mean, it's my final year. We have already been through so much trauma in our lives. And I've met my husband. I think if I didn't met my husband, things would probably be different. But I've met my husband when I was 17 years old. And it was just like he was the soft protector. He was the man that came into my life that protected me, that wanted to give me the safe space. And I had that confidence that knowing that whatever I'm doing now, I'm going to have a man that is going to protect me. I could speak up. I had that confidence of telling my story.
Mhm.
So for me, it was just that knowing that I had a supportive husband or boyfriend in my life or person. It can be God, it can be a coach, whoever you feel safe with. Knowing that I could speak up, and yes, it wasn't easy. I did do the speaking up, but what came next was like your family not believing you, your family leaving you, they are ignoring you because you are lying and things like that. But it's just writing that story. It was just a little bit about myself, just putting it on paper so that people can realize they are not alone. Because for so many years, I thought that it only happened to me, that I was the one that didn't needed love, that someone that I deserved to be hated, deserved to be abused, and that I was alone. But the more I spoke about it, the more I realized we are not alone. There is so many children still going through these things. There is still women going through these abusive relationships, not knowing where to find these safe spaces. And it still hurts me because it didn't stop with us. If we don't make these movements and create more safe spaces, it's still going to go on. Luckily, women is starting to speak up, which is so amazing. Because if I think about my mom and my great grandmother, they were the women that fought for our voices. They were the ones that really fought for everything. And I want to be mindful and just give, like, not a prayer, but just like a moment of silence for all the women who've lost, who died because they tried to speak up, to the kids who tried to say what's going on, and instead of asking, oh, what's wrong, what's going on with her, or what's wrong with her, ask what happened to them. Don't just be so judgmental when someone is acting out. Like for me now, like I was like, yes, I was a rebel. I was smoking, I was drinking, I was partying my life since I was 12 years old. And all the adults was just seeing, what they were seeing was, oh, what's wrong with her? She's a rebel. Not one of them asked what happened to her. Why is she why is she acting out? Because in my teenage mind, I was screaming to the world. I was trying to share, hello, something is happening to me. Please help, please help. And what grown-ups saw was, oh, she's a rebel. Oh, she's a problem child. So when you as an adult see someone who is addicted to Coke, and I mean Coke, the cool drink, or addicted to coffee, or to more stronger things, don't just be judgmental and say, oh, what's wrong with that person? That person is this. No, rather ask, why is this? What happened to this person that she is numbing her feelings with alcohol? She is numbing her feelings with cigarettes, or with food, or with tea, or with coffee, or even with exercises, because that can sometimes also be
Oh yeah.
of numbing your feelings. I think we just need to be more kinder to women or to people overall,
Mhm.
and just know that we all have a story. We all see the world through our own maps. And each one of us sees it differently. Like when I was starting by writing my memoir, I asked my mom and my sister what can they remember about these things. And not, yes, the story is the same, the main character and the event is the same, but each one of us remembered a different thing.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, whoa. And that just made me realize we all see the world through our own eyes. We experience things like, for me, speaking in front of the class when I was in school, I couldn't do it. I would freeze. And now here I am, that little girl freezing in
Look
class
at
is now,
you, how far you've come, right?
yes. So there is really growth in, but you have to make that decision yourself. Are you gonna move forward and start your healing journey? Are you gonna but it starts with you. It's not starting with anyone else. It starts with you, and you have this choice. And you can do it. There is so many women who has done it. Yeah, and I'm just proud of each woman and queen that have done speaking up to the ones who have lost, who couldn't.
Yeah.
Yes, to each one who fought for our women rights. That is just yes.
I
But
know.
then again, that's why we write books. Because now, 100 years from now, someone is going to grab that book of ours and they are going to read it as a survival guide.
Oh yeah.
And that is an exciting part for me. Like
Yeah,
in 100 years, I want my great
we're
grandkids.
on paper. Somewhere
Yes.
that book's gonna be there forever.
And that's so exciting. That's
It
really so
is. Yeah.
exciting.
So the last thing that I want to mention to you from your book, because the beginning of my healing started with forgiveness. And there's on chapter 5 of your chapter, you say, forgiveness doesn't come easy. It doesn't. It might take forever. But forgiveness for me, that was my liberation. Once I was able to forgive my past, forgive myself especially, and forgive my mom. You know, we grew up, nowadays they would consider abuse, but we look back then like, no, it was not abuse. That's what my mom knew. That's what her father did to her, so much worse. So now I know that what my mom did wasn't really uh, uh, an evil thing by her. It was her doing what it was done to her. Uh, I don't have children. None of my sisters have children. We joke that we're breaking the curse because we don't have children, you know? Um, but yeah, this to me, forgiveness doesn't come easy. It really doesn't. Did you get to the point to forgive your father, to forgive yourself, you know? Are you at that point that you're like, you don't hate him, but you don't want to, like, I don't mind you, I don't hate you, but I also don't want you near kind of thing, because, but I mean, did you get to that point where you're in peace because you are able to forgive who you had to forgive?
I forgave my father, I think about when I was 21, when I started to tell my story. I did tell my story a lot, and I forgave him because for me personally, what he did to me was wrong. So I'm not saying that anything that he did was good or anything. But for me, it was like I can't expect God to forgive my sins because I'm not perfect if I can't forgive other people. So I forgave him, and my dad passed away a few months ago.
Mhm.
And a week before he passed away, he sent me a voice note saying he's sorry for things that he've done to me.
Oh.
And for 6 years, for 35 years, or for 6 years being in Australia, I was like, okay, we were far away, we didn't speak much, and he did say he's sorry for a few things. But then it opened like up a whole new chapter. Like I am now in another healing journey. Like I am now in a journey of he's gone now. And now I can finally share my memoir, share all the details, because as a narcissist, unfortunately, they tell the story in their way and they are playing mind games. And unfortunately, those people they can do they are very clever in mind pursuing people. I don't want to curse. And now, like I said, he passed away in July. And for me, it's now a journey of, he passed away. I really hope that he made his heart right with God and asked for forgiveness and things like that for all the things he does. But now it's just like I can finally breathe. Like for 18 years, I didn't know that I was holding my breath, even though I was on the self-healing journey. And now me and my sisters and my mom can finally breathe. We can tell our stories. No one is not going to say, he's not there to say, no, you are the abusers or blah, blah, blah. Now we can finally breathe and just say, and it's like you are like, oh, am I a good person for being relieved to finally breathe and feel safe? And I was struggling with this, starting to write my memoir. But now I am in this stage of my life where I'm like, you know what, my story needs to be shared. All the gory things, all the things that happened to me, because there is someone out there who is gonna read that book and gonna see, oh, it happened to her, it happened to me, and if she can do it, so can you. So yes, forgiveness set him free, and it also set me free.
That is great. What's a message of courage or hope you would like to leave for anyone who feels alone or unheard or caged without a way out?
I think message of hope for me is just knowing that you are not alone. You might feel like that in this particular moment. You feel like you are the only one who's going through these things. But like I said earlier, is start getting yourself communities on Facebook, TikTok, wherever you want to. There is so many amazing women out there who is doing such amazing things, creating safe spaces for women, I'm speaking directly to women, but there is so many safe spaces out there. Go in the search bar and start searching for it, because you will find it. And yes, you probably gonna go through a few coaches or a few women, and you're gonna find that one person that you're clicking with, and she's gonna be your go-to girl. She's gonna be your go-to queen. What is she doing? Like, I had 3 amazing mentors over the last 6 years, and all 3 of them passed away 3 years ago. So for me, it is like the things that they taught me. Like, it is just, there is some people that's going to change your perspective of life, your healing journey. They are going to make your gut, like, listen to your body. Like, that's the thing, listen to your body. Start by, like, when I created my core framework, it was like, start ripping off these limiting beliefs. Start putting, I'm not enough. Start replacing it with, I am enough. Start setting some boundaries. Oh my goodness. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. And if you don't know how to set some boundaries and you don't know how to say no, use your phone, use your calendar. And whenever there is something and you don't like to go out, or you don't want to go out with a person, or you don't want to go for certain things, use your calendar. I'm sorry, I've got a meeting with my coach. Sorry, I've got a Zoom meeting. Sorry, I've got this. Because that became my best friend, was my calendar. Sorry, I can't go for a gossip spree. I've got podcasts to record. Sorry, I can't go to this barbecue. No. And it taught me to say, you know what? No. No is a sentence. I don't have to explain myself. If I say no, it's no. I don't have to explain myself anymore. But it's hard work, because you're going to lose some people when you're setting some boundaries. And taking care of your relationship with yourself, your self-talk and your self-love. And learning, if you have a partner or you have a child, learn the 5 love languages, like the 5 love languages from Gary Chapman. Is it Gary Chapman? Yes. Help me in my relationship with my husband and my son to know each one of us love languages. So now my husband know that I am a word of affirmation and I'm a physical touch person. My cup is full when I'm getting those things. Like my son, he likes gifts and quality time. Like I would always give him affirmations. Like I would push down affirmations in his throat. And one day he said, Mom, I don't like affirmations. And I was like, you are that, it helps you. You must do this. Until I read that book and I was like, oh, it's not my child. And he was like, I love gifts. Now, when I can just buy him a chocolate and he's a happy child. And now you have to learn these small things. Like there is so many books out there. Just go through there is so many books out there that can help you with this journey to get the courage to start, get the courage to speak up.
And
And
they can reach you.
yes,
They can reach you. I will put your link, on a description on YouTube, and they can click on that and get in touch with you.
yeah. Hi there, I am Marika.
I love that.
And I must say, if someone wants to connect with me, this is how you're gonna see me. Normally, I'm in my pink gown, but it's hot now. This is like I wanted to be this person. Like when I was in one of the network marketing companies, and they would ask me to speak, you would see me in my pink. I always had a blue gown. And then corporate said, no, Marika, pink looks better on you. And they bought me a pink gown. And that is how I would do my presentation, was in my pink gown, because I wanted everybody to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to know that this is your space. We don't judge here. We are just here. And like, if you want to be, I've got a website. I have published a self-healing guide for women who want to start, like a self-healing guide. It's just a resource for them to start their healing journey. And I've had an amazing coloring book, a self-healing coloring book.
I love coloring.
Yes.
Painting. Love painting.
I don't know about painting. I like coloring in, but still, that's again, we find things that's going to help us on our healing journey. Like I said earlier, try everything. If you want to journal, journal. If you like, there is so many things. But yes, if they want to reach me, I am teaching them. I am an art therapist and a trauma-informed self-healing coach. I am teaching them my core framework. And the core framework is exactly the things I needed to do over the last 6 years to become this person. And if you don't like this person, then I don't think
How
you
is
need to
it?
go.
Right?
Yes, and I'm in the podcast for every woman who wants to share their stories. There's always space on my podcast. Like for 2026, my mission is 1,000 episodes. So
Wow.
it was my 2025 mission, and then life happened. Like that was my mission for this year. And for some reason, it didn't happen. And that's all good because I was writing these anthologies with women, publish my own things. So it was a busy 2025. But for 2026, 1,000 episodes. So if you want to be featured on and be one of those 1,000 people or women, my link will be there.
Yes.
So that is my self-serving or selling people.
Yes. I love that. I also this year didn't do a lot of podcasting. I took an unintentional break. First, I was gonna pick up in July, and then I just life kept happening, and it's one thing after the other, one thing after the other, and I'm like, the book's out. I gotta pick up because I was feeling like I have to go back to podcast. I have to. I'm like, no, you don't have to. So up until I was putting this like pressure on me that I have to, I was also telling myself, you don't have to, but go back if you want to. So for the last couple of weeks, I'm like, oh my God, I want to go back to podcast. I'm like, okay, now it's the time. Now I'm saying that
Mm.
I want to go back, not that I have to, you
Yeah.
know? Because when I started, I said, I want this to be something fun, you know?
Yes.
I want interview people with a glass of wine, them having a glass of wine or whatever, have a good time, talk about, whatever we talk. Yeah. But yeah, now I'm like, I want to go back. So I'm back.
Yes, I
Mar-
think
huh?
we as women need more spaces like ours.
Oh,
Really,
yeah.
like, I mean, if they can just find safe spaces to share what's going on. Because something that might be silly that I've done in my journey might be something someone just needed to hear at that time. And I feel like podcasting is opening up for women to listen on Spotify. I mean, we didn't have these things for 17 years ago.
No, no, definitely not.
We can listen to a podcast and we can feel inspired. And it's such an honor to know that we are some of those hosts. We
I
have
know.
podcasts too. Like, it's like
I
we
love that. I love that.
are.
Marika, I loved having you. Oh my God, so much fun. I loved your story on our book. It was so good. An honor to have you as my first guest on my Back to podcast. Would you like to leave your message here? Let people know how to reach you, what they have to do. And you have a book out, or you're writing a book? Am I correct?
Yes, on Amazon, when you click in Marika Vessels, my self-reading guide will be there and my coloring book and a few other like scrapbooks and notebooks. But my memoir will be out. I thought I was doing it, publishing it on the 3rd of December, but this morning I realized that it's going to take a little bit longer.
Okay.
I'm struggling for the last few days or sitting in a blank page, and I'm like, I'm not going to rush through emotions and
Yes.
rush to get to my. This is my healing journey now. This is my time to just and put it into a book. But if they want to find me, they can always go to my website www.marikavessels.com. Um, I can always, if they want to share their stories, I will give you the link. I will give you the link where they can book a call for to be featured on my Speak Up Queen podcast. Um, yeah, that's about it for now. Like, I next year I am collaborating with amazing two other women that we are gonna have our own. I'm a co-founder of an app where people will also be able to be on an app. I'm also having a TV show, which I haven't done lately, but I will.
TV show, dude.
Yes, I do.
This
But
is awesome.
thank you, love. It's like I can't actually tell people to just do this because I'm so all over the place. Not all over the place, but I've got so many things going on.
Uh-huh.
Um, So I'm just thinking about maybe just creating, like, I've got a school community. So for me, it's like maybe just grab my books on Amazon. It might be the easiest while I am getting my life sorted out,
Mhm.
or book a call and be featured on Speak Up Queen. I think that might be the easiest to not confuse people, is to just book. If you want to be featured on Speak Up Queen, here's the link. Or if you want to buy any of my books, here's the link on Amazon. I think that is it for now. Or my website. My website still, I'm gonna redo all of everything on my website again, because I love changing things up. So I might not give you my website link because
Does I found your website and I save it because I want to put it on a description, the link
yes.
so people can click on and get in touch with you.
Yeah, but like I said, they can always on my website. There is places like I just need to update a few things there. But yeah, or they can join my school community.
Mhm.
But yeah, I hope I didn't confuse you. I like I confused
Oh my God,
myself
no,
now.
you're fine. I love it. I love it. Later on, you're gonna tell me about this TV show that you're gonna be on TV. I want to see that.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's just like it's almost like a YouTube, but it's on the Phoenix TV. So I've got my own show that I started in March, and I haven't done anything with it. And they
uh-huh.
asked me, Marika, when are you gonna start recording and send things again? I'm like, it's on my to-do list. It's on my to-do list, and it is there. But I think about that might be a 2026 thing for me, where I might just start interviewing. It's almost like gonna be like a podcast, but it's gonna be more like a TV show, more not just a podcast series. It's gonna be more about I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
Okay. Well, you let us know when you know.
Yes, when I know, I will tell you. But like I said, yeah, it's now just confusing me. I'm confused.
Marika, thank you so much for doing this with me. I love it. It was an honor to get to know you a little bit more. And we'll keep in touch. I mean, we're gonna, always be keeping in touch, right? Always. You're my
Always.
sister now. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, it's
Yes, oh my God, yeah, yeah. I'm about to go to bed and you're gonna start your day, right? All right, thanks so much.
okay, lovely. Have a good day.